You ready?
Are you just asking me questions or am I just talking?
No. I'll ask you questions. Okay. So tell me who you are and where you're from.
I am Alexis Thornellis, and I live in Washington State, just outside of Seattle.
And tell me, what kind of real estate experience did you have before you found me?
Actually, not too much. I just knew I wanted to be in it. I actually wanted to be an agent, was talking to a friend of mine and telling him what I wanted to do. And he was like, why do you want to be an agent? Like, don't do that. That's stupid. I know someone who's actually an investor and you need to do that. And I had always thought an investor was someone who like just went and paid cash for a property. So I was like, well, I don't just have cash. And so he was like, no, there's more to it. And he kind of told me at the end of the day, he was like, there's this woman, Whitney Nicely, out in Tennessee. Go look her up. I used to help her with some tech stuff on her platform, on her business. And he's like, I know her. She's great. Go check her out. So then I started basically like stalking Whitney on Facebook and watching her videos. And I was like, okay, like, yeah, she's pretty cool. And yeah, now here I am today.
Now, you did have a couple properties before you found me though, didn't you?
Yes, but I had purchased them through like regular traditional mortgage. So I didn't have anything creative, but I did have one. Yep.
So tell me about that. How'd you find it? How'd you fund it? What was it?
The one I had before you?
Mm-hmm.
It was through the normal process, like go to an agent, sign the mortgage loan.
Oh no, house. You had some land, didn't you?
I did. So the other thing I did before I had joined Whitney was I was already fascinated with land. And so I would go to auction sites, buy land. And there was one property where I had bought it for $1 and then plus closing fees. So maybe like $300 all in. And then I had sold it for 10 grand not too long after with like no effort. So yeah, I was doing land auction purchases beforehand.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you've done a deal with me though. How did that happen? How did that come about?
Yeah, so I had a really interesting first deal experience. When I had joined Whitney and Plus, maybe 2 weeks after that, my friend, so I got lucky because I knew the seller, but at the same time, she's like, she lives in Washington State with me, and she's like, I have this property. She's like, it's so distressed. Her and her husband had gutted it, thinking it was their forever home. They were going to redo it, and then they were like, we're going to relocate to Washington for work. So she, out of nowhere, her job was like, you need to move. They moved. She had been paying $800 a month on this home that they haven't lived in since 2014. And this is only last year. So we're talking middle of 2021. She's like, I've been making monthly payments on my mortgage, $800 a month. She's like, but it's to the point now where I need to just pay off the $50K and probably just donate it to the city. And my friend's super smart and she's actually been in construction before. And it was interesting to me that when I told her like, well, hey, I might be able to help you. Like we could maybe look at wholesaling depending on the state or condition the property's in. And she didn't even know what wholesaling was. So that was an eye opener for me where I was like, wow, like people who I would assume would know about it, they don't. And so it was really cool because I got to talk her through that. And then fast forward, I got it lease optioned. I did a lease option sandwich where I lease optioned it from her. And then I have a tenant buyer in there who is he's a general contractor, so he didn't scare him. He took on the property. He's sending me rent checks every month. She's saving the $800 every month. And she told me how she'd cry every night. Like she thought she was going to have to spend another $50,000 and donate it and make this monthly payment on top of that. And so she was like, I'd cry in the shower every night thinking I would have no way out of this house. And so that was the moment where I realized like, wow, we really do help people. Like we don't just say that. And that was my first deal. And on top of that, it was a sight unseen. I did the whole transaction from Washington while the property was in Tennessee.
Awesome. Yeah. So did you try wholesaling it and then went to lease option, or how'd that work?
Yeah, so I did. At first, I tried doing lease option at first. And then I was like, man, I'm part of being the 100% sight unseen and remote made it really tough to do the lease option. But I was like, you know what? I tried it. Couldn't get the right type of person because this home and the condition it was in needed a very specific person. So then I was like, okay, I'm just going to wholesale it. So then I lowered the price, changed my marketing into more of a wholesaling. And one guy actually reached out to me and he's like, I'll give you all cash for it when I had lowered the price. So like, perfect. At the same time, I also had another guy who was like, well, I'll lease option. I'll do the rent to own. The guy that was going to wholesale ended up losing his job same day. So he couldn't do the cash right then and there. He'd call me from his wife's cell phone actually, because I'd been talking to him through his work cell phone. So I would have actually gotten an all cash offer right then and there, 10 days. He's like, I'll just give you all cash. We'll get it closed in 10 days. And I could have been done with it. So I saw that was a possibility, but the lease option totally ended up working out. So I had made $4,000 non-refundable option fee right at the beginning. I make about $200 a month on his rent payments. And then, yeah, I'll make about $20K once we close.
Nice.
And on this property, I'm actually getting it in my name as soon as the loan's paid off. So the seller, like, she was in such a dire state. She was like, honestly, you just taking my monthly payments away from me is enough.
And I mean, like we talked about the other day, there are so many people that would love for somebody to just take their monthly payments away. They don't need a bunch of money. They don't need it tomorrow. They just need somebody to keep them from crying in the shower.
Yep. 100%.
Awesome. So this is your first event here with me. How'd it go?
Amazing. I will say, like, Whitney, you knocked it out of the park. She did amazing. Like, we have gone through, like, what's happening just in the market today. We've gone through different strategies. We've gone through, like, the storytelling side of what we do and how we want to market ourselves and how we want to spend our time, because it's so easy to say we want to dabble in all these different things. But at the end of the day, we want to figure out where we need to specialize in. And that was a big aha for me. And I will say, as a separate plug, like, with Whitney, the sky's the limit. If you work with her, honestly, you will be your biggest barrier to how far you get, because if you want to push and push and push, 100% you will soar. But if you're like, well, I may not have time, like, it's just, the way I could summarize it is you will be your only barrier to how far you get if you work with her. 100%.
Thank you.
Yeah. But the weekend was amazing. Like,
Good.
It was great.
What kind of expectations did you have coming in? What did you think we were going to cover? And
Yeah, I kind of thought we were going to go through a lot of the First Deal Done Fast modules again a little bit, kind of that one, and so that's kind of where I thought we'd go through the steps step by step again, but it was a totally different style. It was definitely about the culture of what we do and the news of what's going on and how that affects us. Was super great. Thinking ahead, it's, talking about different people that share content that we can look at and follow and, get little nuggets of information from all these different platforms that can help drive us day to day on what we do. So it was a different spin on what I was expecting.
what was your favorite part of the week?
Ooh, okay. On the, like, fun side, the boat cruise, the dinner boat cruise, hands down. Like, I'm obsessed with water, so, like, to just be out on the river and eat and have a good time, and yeah, that was for sure super fun. And actually, we just went over today future thinking on, like, what's to come next, and I loved all the content, and I'm a big culture person, so day one was awesome, talking through, like, the storytelling of what we do and how we build our brand. But today, going through, hey, there might be this topic that is going to be up and coming in 5 years, 10 years, but if you guys get ahead of it, you'll be the frontier when this does hit. And not many people that are professionals in their spaces will even understand what to do. And that got me thinking, like, oh, I want to be in that space because I want to be that person when this topic comes up. And so that today is hands down my favorite.
So if anybody was thinking about coming and they decided not to come, what would you tell them?
Do it. Because if you don't come, where are you going to go? Like, if I stayed home this weekend, right, and this is separate from all the coaching I've had with Whitney, but, like, this weekend, right, if I was like, okay, I could go to First Deal Done Fast live, or She Buys It live this weekend, like, what would I be doing? I might be on the couch, might do a thing or two, but, like, I'm not gaining anything. And so do it, because if you don't, what are you going to do?
Exactly. So we're at my house. How is this conference different than any other conference you've ever been to?
It's super intimate. So it's been great being with, I will say, like, in having conversations with these girls, virtually is great. It's a network that, you can rely on. But here, we're in Whitney's house. Like, she keeps it real, where she's totally spoiling us with amenities and food and just, it's crazy. But it's so great because it's so intimate, and it's not like something where if you could spend 10 grand on a seminar for a weekend or 5 grand on a seminar for a weekend, and you're in a conference room, it could be really hot, there's 100 people, you're just kind of, you're talking real estate, but then you're just kind of going about your separate ways. This is totally different. This is like you're building a network, and actually I kind of feel like I'm building, like, lifelong friends that I'm going to be with for a long time to come. So it's totally different and so much better than what I would have imagined.
Thank you. Is there anything else you want to tell me?
Thank you for everything. I mean, I kind of already said it. This would be a perfect spot for what I said about us ourselves are the only things holding us back from how far we get. I will say, like, Whitney's coaching style, this is for everyone out there. Like, it's direct, it holds you accountable, it's fun, it's friendship, it's sisterhood, it's everything, and it's outside the box, which is great. So no, I just want to thank you for, like, letting me on this journey and having me be a part of it. You've been awesome, and yeah, I'm appreciative of everything.
Yay! Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.